Some more Epstein file news, y'all.
So the House Oversight Committee just dropped the video from its deposition of Les Wexner. And if you don't know who that is, he's the billionaire who built Victoria's Secret, Bath & Body Works, and Abercrombie & Fitch. He's also one of the first major figures that Jeffrey Epstein worked for as a financial advisor. Now, Epstein, before his death, reportedly held power of attorney over Wexner's fortune.
This matters because Wexner was not some random acquaintance. He tried to portray himself as a random acquaintance, but they caught him out with how much they knew about him, and Epstein. He gave Epstein power of attorney over all of his assets. That's serious. Power of attorney means you legally control someone's financial decisions. How did you allow that to happen? And he's not your good friend. You don't allow people to do that and they're not your good friend. So when Wexner says he was completely deceived, people are naturally going to look at you sideways, bruh. How does somebody hand over that level of authority and not see some red flags? Come on. You got money. That doesn't automatically mean you're guilty of anything. We don't say that. But it absolutely justifies us looking into your background to see if you're one of those monsters. And this is why depositions matter. They create sworn testimony on the record. They hold you accountable for what you say.
I never would have guessed I was being conned. Never, ever. The deceit was so subtle. Yes, I know.
Answer the question.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm sure we all appreciate the stories. We're just
Okay.
trying to answer the questions they actually want to.
So his lawyer.
Okay, here's the issue. Epstein wasn't some quiet little accountant. He was living an extremely visible lifestyle. Private planes, massive properties, access to elites. So when somebody says, I never saw it coming, the public reaction is going to be like, you lying, bruh. That don't make sense. It doesn't mean he's lying, but it don't make sense to us. But the scale of Epstein's operation makes ignorance hard to believe and process. The biggest influence in somebody's life, money-wise, the bigger somebody's influence, the more questions people ask about the people around you. Who was advising you, bro? We're going to ask questions. That's normal. We got to know.
And that's when the moment happens. Wexner's own attorney leans over and whispers this.
Answer the question.
Okay.
Now, to be clear, both Wexner and the attorney laughed right after. It was...
Wait a minute. They laughed. Yeah, it was like sarcasm. I get it. But here's why this moment stands out. This is a congressional deposition about a man connected to a global sex trafficking ring. The tone of the lawyer matters. The public already feels like the powerful people never answer questions directly. So when a witness keeps rambling on and the lawyer has to force him to answer the question, it reinforces the perception the elite gets to dodge and say what they want to say instead of saying the truth. Even if it's just poor communication, even if he's an older man and we got to have patience, perceptions becomes reality in cases like this. And that's why transparency is key. That's why it's critical.
Testimony that his relationship with Epstein was strictly business. He told the committee he never went to lunch, dinner, a movie, or even had a cup of coffee with Jeffrey Epstein. He said he cut ties with him back in 2007 after finding out about an investigation and discovering that Epstein had been stealing money from him, allegedly, and his family.
Look, this is one of those statements that sounds very specific, very, very much so that this man understands what y'all saying to him. I never had coffee, dinner, lunch, movie, blah, blah, blah. When someone draws the line that tight, that close, you got to listen to him closely. Really? And the rumor was that he was your lover. And the rumor was that he had all this money from you and you said he embezzled it, that had to mean he had to get close to you, so he had to be closer than what you're saying. Because later evidence contradicts even the smallest details of what you're saying. Your credibility collapses. In high-profile cases, precision matters. And when the relationship involves power of attorney and financial control, people will want documentation, not just your memory. That's why records, emails, travel logs, all of that stuff matters.
Well, now, New Mexico Attorney General Raul Torres says his office reviewed the recently released Epstein files from the DOJ and determined that what's in those sealed FBI documents warrants a second look. His office says they are seeking immediate access to the complete, unredacted federal case file. And
now, this is significant. A reopened investigation means new information was compelling enough to act on it. Not rumor, not social media, official review. That tells you this story is not dead. It ain't going nowhere. But it also tells you something else. Investigations take evidence. Reopening a case is not proof of wrongdoing. It's proof that questions remain unanswered. That distinction matters because speculation spreads faster than facts.
According to Reuters, investigators are now looking into an unverified claim from a 2019 email found in the Epstein files that alleges the bodies of 2 foreign girls may be buried somewhere outside the property. Now, we covered this story briefly a couple of weeks ago, but for those of you who don't know, there's an FBI report in the Epstein files which details an email sent from an anonymous sender to a man named Eddie Aragon, who apparently conducts his own research into the Epstein files. Now, the email reads, "Edward, this is sensitive, so it will be the first and last email depending on your discretion. You can choose to take it or trash it, but this comes from a person that has been there and seen it all as a former staff at the Zorro. The material below was taken from Jeffrey Epstein home as my insurance in case of future litigation against Epstein. Sorry, no questions. What is damning about Jeffrey Epstein is yet to be written. Did you know somewhere in the hills outside the Zorro, 2 foreign girls were buried on orders of Jeffrey and Madam G. Both died by strangulation during rough fetish sex."
Whoa, whoa, whoa. The transcript itself says it's an unverified claim, an anonymous email. That does not equal confirmed evidence. It absolutely justifies an investigation. No, 2 young girls buried on the ranch. We're repeating this as fact without proof would be irresponsible. Here's why. The Epstein case already lives in a world of conspiracy, cover-ups, and mistrust. If bodies were buried on that property, it's catastrophic. But until forensic evidence exists, this remains an allegation. Serious yes, proven no. We have to keep that line very clear. We cannot let speculation outrun the evidence, distract us from the real issues. These are monsters that we have to catch. We have to use unusual tools to catch monsters. Who knew what? When did they know? And who was protected? That's the heart of it. That is the main point. Not memes, not hot mics, no distractions, accountability. If you like the content, please like, share, and subscribe. We have this content every day. Please like, share, and subscribe. And I'm HQ.